Hey guys, Dan Young here with Dan's Millionaire Code, and this week's guests are good friends of mine. They were on one of the first guys on the podcast to share you what they were doing. Their company name before was SeekXR. It's now Ocavu.
Yep, got it.
You guys, freaking rad name.
I couldn't find my shirt this morning.
But why I've been bugging you guys to come on is evolution. You know, because you guys like us pivot and take advantage of all the new technologies that are out. This one was actually kind of unexpected. I thought, because you guys were doing lots of AR, 3D, really cool stuff. So first, like, maybe give like a quick summary of what you guys were doing.
Yeah.
And why you pivoted, and where you are today. And you guys are printing it. You guys are rocking. So.
Yeah, I mean, it actually makes a lot of sense if you understand kind of behind the scenes. So the immersive side of the business that we started with, you know, working with Lego and Nestle and Best Buy and Walmart and just biggest brands in the world. We're really one of the leaders in the world in that immersive infrastructure space, right? And not too long ago, people started buying NFTs for $20 million, and I was like, all right, what's going on here, right? And I just started watching the space and saying, what are we going to do with this? Like, how can we help? And we started looking at like Bored Apes and things like that, and like maybe we can help turn them into 3D characters. And we were just trying to figure out how can we use our 3D experience and expertise to help the NFT market. And then I started digging a little deeper into NFTs specifically, and I am of the firm believer, even though a lot of gamers don't really like this right now, I think that when the ownership of digital content in the future will all be controlled and managed by NFT technology.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's a public blockchain. If I own a Jazz jersey that's, you know, digital and it's on my avatar, I can, because I own it on the blockchain, any metaverse, any game can just query that and say, oh yeah, this guy owns that. So my digital property can go with me with my digital identity. And I started saying, okay guys, we need to support NFT technology because this is how it's going to move around, right? And so that was really kind of how we started. And then we started talking about NFTs, like publicly, right? And then people started coming to us and saying, hey, can you build us an NFT platform? And, you know, we didn't have any of the infrastructure for that, whatever. But of course, I said yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm an entrepreneur.
Building an airplane.
Sounded exactly. It sounded awesome, and so we started building out an entire infrastructure, including a token. We have our own wallet system, and our wallet system is very unique. There is no system on the market like it today. We can talk about that more later. But ultimately, token, wallet, plus the immersive. We have really, really big companies and groups coming to us saying, we want to go with you over X massive, you know, Web3 competitor that's already done a lot of other things because we have the window to the next layer, which is the metaverse, right? Yeah, you can do NFTs. A lot of people can do NFTs. Other people can help with tokens even, but there's very few companies. Actually, I don't know if I could name one that does NFTs and tokens and all the Web3 stuff and can do metaverse at our level.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah.
So how long did it take to make the pivot, you know? This is all during, like, COVID stuff?
Yeah. So
what are you guys doing?
Was it December till now?
in November is when we got our first request from a big brand, a university, to make an NFT platform, and that was BYU.
Nice.
And I'm a graduate of BYU, huge BYU football fan, like just, I'm a Coug, right? And so when they said, can you build an athletics NFT platform? Of course, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we got that deal, signed it in early December, and then right after that started getting big requests from huge bands, other universities, other brands that said, hey, we want to do the thing too. And I just felt this acceleration. And I was like, I got to do something. And so we had an impromptu board meeting. I was literally driving down to St. George for Christmas break, called Mike, called Reed, called our board. I was like, guys, I need to go full-time on the Web3 side. And I asked Reed, who was currently, or at that time, one of our VPs, to become president of the immersive side, and said, hey, it's time to
So you guys are still doing both? You still have your clients from the...
100%. And we're still running the legacy 3D AR business.
I think it's a good thing to hang on. Because,
it has a lot of revenue too.
Yeah, and my analysis being that I'm old school, coming from Web 1.0 to 2.0 to 3, right? I remember in the late 90s, though, and there was a lot of my friends starting .coms. I started a bunch. Mine are still there, right? But the big differentiator was a lot of guys who were able to take Web 0, right, traditional banking and things like that and transactions, and just even create like a read-only type of platform where you could maybe do some light credit card transactions. Those are the guys and gals that really at the time lasted through it. Because they already had that existing legacy base of customers, they were able to transition into that. So I think people who hold people's hands from like Web 2.0 to 3.0 and make it an easy on-ramp, that's where the money is, right?
And that's what John was getting at with the wallet. We're going to make it so a grandma in the stands can buy her son's digital collectible, aka NFT, the play, and she can do it right from the BYU app with her phone number and email as her wallet login.
That's cool.
So that'll be custodial, but someone like you could also buy it and also know how to put it onto other chains. So we'll kind of cater to both parties.
So let me ask you this. So you guys probably heard Microsoft owns Minecraft's and IP, and I read some article, this is not 100% verified, but they were saying like, hey, we don't really...
They're banning it, right?
No, they put out Minecraft put out a release yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is that
So that's
official now?
verified. That's official.
They're nixing NFTs.
They're saying we're not doing NFTs, and I understand kind of why they said it. I think it's probably just a good way to dress up their reason why. It is complicated, it's whatever, but they don't. They want Minecraft to be a very inclusive game, and they don't want exclusive content in the game. That was kind of their excuse, which I think is kind of.
Epic's taking the opposite approach, right?
Yeah, totally.
They're like, nah, we're cool.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know. And so Minecraft's just like, yeah, if you're selling exclusive content or exclusive content packs, and you're doing it through NFTs, you're in violation of our terms now.
Wow,
And so,
that was a big revenue cut for a lot of people who had cool stuff.
Totally. No, there's a lot of big things out there that are, they were publishing some cool things, and I think that's a bad move by Minecraft. I don't think Roblox will follow in that path. I think they'll just let it kind of happen. But that's the future, right? I mean, they can push off, right? I mean, there's always got to be a Blockbuster somewhere.
I remember there was I think I can talk about this now. It's been since 2005, 6.
Yeah.
But I was in this Microsoft partner meeting, and their North America president at the time, he was like, Dan, how can we make Microsoft better? And my suggestion was, well, instead of trying to sell people Office software for $500, just charge you like $20 a month, right? That's better. And you guys already do that with Xbox, so you should try that. And so that president's no longer there with them. So he's like, no. And I'm like, we would go to meetings, and sometimes people on his team would get upset if we had like an iPad or something, tool,
Sure.
Because we sell Microsoft-based Windows machines for gaming, but devices have different uses,
Sure. Yeah.
So my suggestion with him is, why don't you open up Office to have it on iOS platform, and then charge subscription?
Yeah.
Because they're already there, and then argue.
Uh-huh.
And it took them like 3 or 4 years finally to do that. So my thought on this resistance to NFTs and blockchain, the big catalyst, I want your opinion on it. I think the big catalyst is the central bank digital dollar being released. Once that comes into play, my guess is $1 trillion market cap to like $5 trillion in a few years, maybe $10 trillion, right? Because mass adoption. What's your guys' thought on adoption and resistance?
Yeah, well, they already said that they're going to play nice with other stable coins, right? Like USDC. I mean, they're buying treasuries.
Yeah.
Of course, the government's going to love that, and it's all on chain. They can track it all.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what'll happen when they launch a digital central bank currency. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I think regulation is actually a friend to innovation.
Oh yeah.
Because you get just so much more money that's willing to play in that area once it's regulated.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just a few rebels that are like, they don't really care what anybody says. We're just going to go do stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the big money, the big companies are saying, we can't really touch it because we just don't have the answers. Their lawyers are just like, I'm sorry, I don't have a yes or a no for you. I don't know. And so they're like, okay, well, that's too risky for us. We can't do that.
Were you guys at that whale together? I go to so many of these, but in Provo, that one of the guys, we won't name him, But he was working for a major credit card firm doing some of the coding on the back end, and he talked about one of the major credit card platforms having seamless integration with blockchain by Q3, Q4 this year. Were you at that guy?
Yeah, was it?
We
Is
can't
it
say
Master.
right. Huh?
I think Mastercard's working on it, right? It's a guess.
We can't say who,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
well, I think they're all working on it.
But I read. I know I read something about it actually,
Oh, did
separate
you?
from him. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
actually read.
Oh, public
I think.
knowledge. Good.
But yeah, of course they're going to do it. Of course they have to be
Yeah.
there.
That's wild though, because then
And
this institutional money is almost like water behind a dam. But I think the catalyst is that central bank digital dollar. That's
Yep.
like pretty major,
Yeah, I heard you say something. You said it many times, but the reality is, this hope of decentralization is a lot harder to achieve than people think it is. Sure, in the beginning, new technology is in the hands of a few, and then they try to give power to the people. But then, some cool technology comes out, and Visa or MasterCard says, "Oh, we could build it, or we just go buy that." So they buy it, and then they buy another one, and then they buy another one, and then all of a sudden, 10 players have all the technology.
You guys know I'm not super political. I'm very moderate, right? But there was a few $1 trillion or more printed during the pandemic, right? And what was just crazy is all that money that was given to the people all trickled up into the same pockets.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen with this. And we saw this happen in Web 2 and Web 1. I mean, it all usually starts consolidating to a few players that really figure it out. And they follow my thought of, it's called AAA. They ally, they acquire, or they annihilate their competitors.
Yeah.
They have so much ammunition that the acquisitions happen like crazy. I remember in the late 90s, 65 friends of mine within 90 days got acquired. And they had all great stuff, but it was just like buy.
Yeah.
So, we've had a few guys on here with projects. So if my crystal ball predicted your guys' future, and a lot of these friends that have products that are differentiated and very useful, that offer functional utility, they probably 99% will be acquired for a lot. Like crazy numbers.
The ones that have value will definitely be acquired.
Yeah.
Or, if they don't make it, they don't make it.
How do you guys feel about acquisition? I'll tell you my opinion about it.
Okay.
You guys feel like it's your baby, like, never, or like,
I'll let John
yeah,
answer.
But let it go. And it's obviously has to be for the right price, and it also does matter who. That's really part of it. We were actually offered last year in April, $65 million bucks by a very large social networking company to buy us, and we said no, right? And that was after an earlier offer for about $40 million bucks from another company in January last year. So we've had a couple offers, but we see it's got to be for the right price, and it's got to be the right company. Let me give an example, and I don't want to pick on Mark Zuckerberg here, but in general, there's a lot of people don't like him, and maybe it's not him personally, but some of the way that some of his companies do things, and the way that they take money from so many people. A huge part of what the Ocavu network can do is it can enable influencers, teams, artists, brands, whoever, to really better harness their ownership of that relationship with their fans and customers, right? Because they can manage their relationship. I believe that the best, most premium content should live on somebody's .com. It should not be on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or whatever. You should use those platforms to pull people
Build the audience.
to the place where. So take someone like a big YouTuber or something, right?
Well, look at Joe Rogan. He's doing it.
Totally.
He's putting a clip on YouTube,
And he pulls
and then
them
he
in.
pulls them into Spotify with the big deal there.
where he has
So
the
simple.
most control
Yep.
and the most money.
Yep.
But ultimately, I think a lot of the influencers that we're working with right now, like we have some really cool ones that we can't really talk about yet, but big ones with tens of millions of followers that are worried about the kind of stranglehold these big social platforms have on their audience. if they were to, if YouTube were to say, hey, so and so, we don't like you anymore.
You're done, right? Yeah.
They can push them down, they can kick them off, and all of a sudden they've lost tens of millions of followers, and they have no way to recoup those followers.
That's right.
Right?
I see
they
that
don't have
happening a lot.
email
Just the
addresses, they
algorithms,
don't have
yeah.
anything.
Well,
Especially for a lot of my friends that want pro arms and freedom and those kind of things. Those people are getting filtered really hard right now. Anything verbose,
And sometimes they don't even know what's happening. They've just been pushed down in the.
Yeah, just like, why are we not getting as many views right now?
They pull their back in analytics. They're like,
What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so because they don't have that control, they're saying, hey, it looks like Ocavu has a system that can allow us to harness our audience and really, we can have the way to contact them anytime we want. We can push our things, the charities we care about, the ads we want to push, however we want to monetize our audience, we're going to have control over that, not YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. And so the reason I say that is if we were to bring on all these influencers that are trying to like decentralize social, and then Facebook comes along and says, hey, we want to buy you Ocavu.
But here's
That
the
would be
thing.
kind of
Seek is
be different.
a separate department within your org.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
you could peel that off.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Because we were just
XR
talking about our
and
friend Kurt. I think he's coming on the podcast soon.
Yeah.
He's like mega crypto whale, right?
Yeah.
But Snapchat bought him up in 15, right? He
Yeah.
got, like
50 million. 50 million.
50 million.
Yeah.
And he like totally degenerated into crypto, and
He did.
it was a lot.
He did
bigger
well.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe not a bad thing with the legacy systems, right? I don't know.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
The reality is a $65 million offer from a big, social platform that's awesome. And
great.
it would have been okay, right?
Yeah.
We actually looked at it, it actually wouldn't have been great. If we look at our percentages and things like that of what we own, it would have been seemingly okay, but their stock price has dropped something like 80% since
Oh,
then another
that. And
20.
so we would have been, and then another 20%. Anyway,
I have the funniest
We would've
story
been-
about
yeah.
acquisitions and earnouts. So when you get acquired by a big company,
yeah.
You typically have to sign some sort of contract to stay there, and then you have some performance metrics you have to hit to
Ours
be able
was
to get
4
paid.
years for this deal.
So you want to know how to get out of that?
Huh.
And this is two of my friends who have sold their companies for over $2 billion. We won't mention them, but you can scroll through the podcast. So one of them's like, dude, I got in there. They made me executive vice president. They had their own president, right? He was just so mean, and everyone was so mean, and it wasn't like culture, and they were mean to all my people, and they fired half my people, and it was just terrible. So he had a big earnout, like I think it was like 2 to 4 years, somewhere. So he goes, so I just started not showering and showing up to work and using lots of profanity. Not like really off-base profanity, but pretty rough profanity. And then I'd like do it in front of the HR director, and then I would stink. I mean, you could smell me like 40 feet away. He's on one day the HR director pulls me in, has the paperwork, and says, we're going to accelerate your earnout. Just don't ever come back. And he's like, oh, so you're not less stock or what? In fact, we're going to give you a severance to leave early on top of your earnout. So he's like, oh, okay.
Yep, sign here.
So he totally
Don't
retires, moves out of state,
And he saved
Profanity.
and he saved money on shampoo.
and 4 years.
You saved my
Or 2 to 4 years or whatever it was, man. So,
That's really
so that's a little tip. So
Yeah, just don't shower.
if I see you guys at Zuck's place,
Yeah.
not showering, and HR,
I heard Steve Jobs was like that. I heard he walked around barefoot. He would like pull up in the handicap spot, walking barefoot, stank.
yeah, he didn't care, right?
But that was before, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he did get fired, right?
he did,
Oh,
he
yeah.
did get
Remember?
fired.
Oh, yeah,
he
he
did
got
get fired.
like twice. Yeah.
Problem was he wasn't shooting to get fired.
Yeah. All right, man. So, hey, just a few things as far as pivoting. You guys have a lot of experience. What's some advice you're going to give to the viewers out there? Whatever kind of business they have, what's some, maybe just a couple tips on the psychology of like when to know what to pivot, how to figure out how to pivot, and
Yeah.
you know, and should you burn the ship? Should you burn your old deal, or should you just collect the revenue? Like, because I've seen a lot of people do
Stuff.
this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just closing because it's a little rough.
Yeah.
You know, people do crazy things. So because it's turmoil right now. So, you guys,
For me, it has to feel almost like it does when you're wanting to start a company, where you can't not do it, right? You just, and that's what I felt. And literally, like I said in the car driving down to St. George, and I just call everybody up like, guys, I have to do this. And the reason I felt that is because the market was telling me to. It was pulling so hard, and I was just like, I I don't have time to even think about the immersive side of the business. I need somebody else to just take that over. It's stable, it's growth, just go grow, right? And luckily we were in a good position where that was already kind of just cranking, and it's just producing revenue every month and growing, and sales growth, standard, whatever. Not that it doesn't have its challenges; it has plenty of challenges still. But this new Web3 stuff, the market was just like, we need this, and no one's doing it, and we think you can do it.
It also helped that we could incorporate our legacy technology into the blockchain product. So, for example, BYU, we flew our 3D scan team out to 3D scan all of their old sports memorabilia.
Oh.
Right? So trophies, cleats,
footballs,
all that stuff.
Whatever.
And so we 3D scanned it, and then we're going to be launching those as an NFT on the platform. So it's going to be a 3D AR-enabled NFT.
Yeah, you'll be able to look at
cool.
like the trophies and like
Cougars.
cougars.
One of theirs is
cool
like
stuff.
a 12-inch maple bar donut, cougar tail donut,
Nice.
and it's in 3D. You can even like zoom, you go inside of it. It's
rad.
cooler than just a picture.
This is cool.
But the answer to your question is there's no easy answer to it, right? It's like, how did Jack Dorsey know to go start Square? And
Well, I'll ask you a better question, since you guys are founders too, like me. If you have younger people out there, or older people that are wanting to get involved in the new Web3, like where should they start? Like, where's the beginning point for someone who knows nothing? Where would you steer them?
Come intern for us.
Oh yeah,
I'm just kidding.
yeah.
I'm not kidding. That's great.
Yeah.
Come intern for us.
Where can people find you? What's the website?
Ocavu.com.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, Ocavu, just like that right there. Yeah,
Ocavu.
and honestly, we're both pretty active on LinkedIn. That's a great place to
LinkedIn.
connect with us
Yeah.
and say, hey, we want to come intern, we want to come work. So
And we've had interns that turn into full-time positions too.
many,
That's great.
many of them. But
LinkedIn, you're under. Is it Michael Snow under?
Just Mike.
Mike Snow.
Mike
Mike
Snow
Snow
and Jon
and-
Cheney.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Joe.
if you look us up, you'll find us. You just look up Ocavu, you'll find us pretty easy.
Awesome, man.
I'm really active on there. But if someone's wanting to get into Web3 right now, just start doing it, right? Take $5, $10, whatever. Don't
Go dabble.
don't mortgage the farm and ape in or anything. But just start buying. Just start going through the process. And this is what really started getting me excited about it. Is I started buying things on different chains. I tried it on Ethereum, right? And I tried OpenSea or whatever. Then I tried things on Polygon, and then Solana, and then Wax, and so on and so forth, right? And trying all these different things and finding what I liked and what I didn't like, and started finding common threads and themes of like, man, everyone struggles from this problem, and there's no way the general public is going to adopt this if this problem still exists. So let's tackle that, right? And you just the best companies, I think, come out of you wanting to solve a problem that you have. And if you can solve your problems, odds are other people have a similar problem. And so
There's a lot of problems right now, and
solution.
Web3 is so new, right?
So many.
It's
So just
new.
get in, and you're just going to find them. And you're going to say, hey, I wonder who's doing that. And then, see if someone's already working on it. Maybe you just go join their team. Or, if you're crazy like us, then
This is not an endorsement for their ecosystem, but I love these guys, and we're deploying some of our hedge fund dollar amounts into some of your staking platforms too.
Cool.
We like it; looks pretty good.
Yeah,
we know
very
you
cool.
guys. We were sitting with a bunch of other whale bros or advisors, right?
Yeah.
And then I go, "What do you?" He's one of them's like, "Hey, what do you think? We should put a little in there." Yeah. And then one of the other guy goes, "We know where they live. We've known them for a bit." But that's a big thing with
That's
teams.
huge.
It's really
Like,
big.
are they available on LinkedIn? Do they have they done something before?
Yeah.
Or
Track
are they
record.
anonymous bros out of Russia that are like,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, let's
Some
go."
guy behind a laptop in a different country.
Oh yeah, you got to be that.
So I talked to just like a big investor. He's like a multi-billionaire. I don't even know like where he came from, but somehow he got introduced to me, whatever. And he was asking me about our token launch, and he's like, you guys are really brave for launching a token with like an existing business. He's like, 99% of tokens are launched out of Singapore and places where there just aren't laws that are gonna where it's not the U.S. There's like 3 major tokens out of the U.S. That's it, right? Out of tens of thousands of tokens out there.
yeah, a lot harder here nowadays.
And so, we're trying really hard to follow the guidelines that do exist, the regulations that do exist. But yeah, it's fun. One of the cool things about the Ocavu Network token is it will grow exponentially as every single new influencer, brand, artist, sports team, arena. We just actually got a soft commitment to move a baseball team to be using NFT tickets with our system, right?
Wow.
So every single ticket that's purchased, every NFT that's purchased, every transaction that happens actually pushes our token up, just the way that the token.
A little bit of buy
economics are.
pressure on each.
Yeah, so it might be like
transaction.
$1 of buy pressure, right? Or
That's nice.
but
Yeah.
as that grows out, we anticipate having millions of transactions happening a day
Yeah.
eventually.
The-
That should really create an incredible ecosystem.
I would touch on that. We didn't even mention the ticketing, but I mean, it's incorporated into our platform is ticketing as an
Wow.
NFT. And you can, so if you buy a ticket to a concert, you can then sell that into the market. And then the artist gets a little piece, 2.5%,
Oh,
whatever it is,
royalty,
on every time someone scalps that ticket. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So schools, all the sports events, that'll all be on chain someday.
It cuts out
Yeah.
Ticketmaster and
Yeah.
SeatGeek and
Yeah.
all those.
Wow, man.
And it's all automated. They can program it to do whatever. They can take whatever fee they want.
So archive this video, keep it for later. These are a couple guys that are doing the next thing that was like when the one dude started a bookstore on the web.
Yeah.
That's right.
Amazon.
That's true.
Little
Dude.
book, just a little
Jeff.
bookstore.
Guys, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you guys. Go follow these guys. Hey, and there's just a few things I ask you guys to do if you get value out of this. This isn't costing you anything. A lot of these guys would charge a lot if they had to sit there and personally train you, but they're giving it to you because they want to see you be successful. So one, take action on what you've learned. Two, share it. And the third thing I ask is, if you get financial gain from executing what you've learned here, take 10% of that and give it to a good charity. I like Operation Underground Railroad. They're good. Tim's awesome. See you at the
Valid.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week.